Under a circle, ladies and gentlemen. Right, you've got this where we talked about this is the radius. All the way through is the diameter. Right? But today we're specifically talking about the distance around. And the distance around we call it's not perimeter. Okay, it is called the circumference. It is called the circumference, the distance around. Now, take my word for this. Or maybe we'll do just one, just for fun. What some brilliant mathematician sort of guy noticed was that if, by the way, it's hard to measure the circumference of a circle. Why? Somebody tell me why it's hard to measure the circumference. Why is it hard to measure around a circle? Gary? Yeah, because it's hard because rulers are straight. I've got myself a little tape measure here. Here's my little cup, which was a nice Christmas present. Did one of you give this cup for me?
Me.
Well, thank you. Thank you, both of you, for the
I
cup.
gave someone else one.
All right, here's my cup. Somebody decided, or did this, measured around the cup, and I'm going to measure it so you can see. The distance around, the circumference of this cup. I'm going to do this here. I'm going to do it in millimeters. Why in millimeters? Because they're a lot easier than inches. I'm going to have DJ verify this. In millimeters, by the way. So that 30 is not 30, it's actually 300. It is 300. How many little millimeters after that 30 is it? What do you say? Let's go with that. 305. The circumference of this thing is 305 millimeters. Okay. Now, what some wise intellectual did is, not only did they measure around it, but they took the diameter. The diameter of this cup is, what do you say that is? What's that? No, that's 90. What do you think? 90 what? We'll go a little bigger and say 96. And the diameter, and they found that every time they took the circumference and divided it by, did I say 96?
Yeah.
And divided it by the diameter, they always got the same number. Anybody know what number that is? Good, we'll check and see here. How many times does 96 probably go into 305? Well, 96 is close to 100, so let's use it. How many times will 100 go into 305? Ryan? 3, thank you very much. If we do the math, we get 18, 288. We do our subtracting here. Boom. How many times, I got to put a decimal point here, so now I've got 3 points. How many times will 96 go into 170? Oh boy. Calvin? Just once. And I do my 96 there, and I get, what? About, is that an 84?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I goofed up a little bit here. Anyways, they always got close to this number here. Does anybody know this in math is probably one of the most special numbers in the entire world? DJ, it is?
Wait, what number?
Yeah, what do we call that number?
Pi?
We do call that pi. If you take the circumference of any circle, divide it by its diameter, you will always get this little thing. We either put this little sign that stands for pi, or you can write it in its Greek, whatever. This is the Greek symbol. This is, I guess, spelled out. But it always equals that thing up there, which is, we always kind of round it off to 3.14. Mine didn't get to 3.14 because I didn't measure it as accurately as I should. But no matter how big the circle is, you could You can measure the circumference of that garbage can and divide it by its diameter. You will always, 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 if you measure accurately enough, you'll get 3.14. To which you're going to say, well, so what? What's the big deal about that? Well, the nice thing about that is this. I'll show you. If I know that the circumference dividing by its diameter always equals pi, can I just put pi down? Okay. I can change that to any kind of form I want. If I know the diameter, let me give you an equation. How about, what does 10 divided by 2 equal? What's 10 divided by 2 equal? Peter?
5.
5. Well, if I wanted to know if I didn't know that this was a 10, what do I do with 2 and 5 to get 10? Lose? Right, so I can do that same thing over here. If I multiply these two things together, I get the top number. So circumference always equals the diameter of a circle times pi. So you need to write that down because that's our big formula for today. Circumference equals pi times diameter. Okay. Or, let's see, what if I didn't know what the diameter was? What if I didn't know 2? What do I do with 10 and 5 to get 2? Michael? Divide. So I know if I take the circumference and divide it by pi, I get the diameter. Which is a nice thing to know because how do we know how thick the earth is? How would you ever find the diameter of the earth? Could you drill all the way through it and measure from one end to the other? No, but we can find, we can fly all the way around the circumference of the earth, right? I think that's like 24,000 miles. Okay. I know the circumference. If I take the circumference, let's just round it up, divided by 3 or so, how thick is the earth probably? 24,000 divided by 3, about, it's a tough one. Jacob? 24,000 divided by 3.
8.
8 what?
100.
1,000.
Oh.
Okay, the earth is about 8,000 miles thick. It would take you a while to dig through the center of the earth and come out the other side, which would come out later. Now, when is it good to know the circumference of a circle? Okay, a lot of times the book will give you, instead of a circle, they'll tell you this is a bike tire. And they'll say, does anybody know how big bike tires usually are? Peter knows something. What bike tires are what? What are they measured in? Huh?
I don't really know.
Oh, you were just guessing. How big would the normal bike tire be, would you think? About that tall? I don't know. Let's say a bike tire is 24 inches high. How far will you go if the bike tire goes around once? In other words, on your little bicycle, oh look, here's my other tire. You're rolling down the road here. Okay, and your bike tire travels one whole revolution. How far did you travel? Your bike tire is 24 inches high. How would you figure that out? Well, when it goes around one time, what are you trying to figure out? The distance around once is its, and circumference equals pi times diameter. And again, let's just round pi to 3. What was its diameter? 24 inches. So how far did you go? 72 inches, which is how far? How many feet is 72 inches? Yeah, 6 feet. So every time your bike tire goes around once, you've traveled 6 feet. So that's kind of handy. Now let's look at a problem right out of the book. Let's write it down, and I'll walk you through it here. Sydney drew a circle with a 2-inch radius. Sid drew a circle with a 2-inch radius. What is the circumference of that circle? If you see this problem, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think the first thing, Christine, you're going to do is?
Think of another model. Or draw a circle.
Draw a circle and label it. What am I going to label this? What do I know? It has a
2 inch.
2-inch radius. Perfect. So that's the first thing you draw on your paper. Then the next thing you're going to do is what? Calvin?
And the radius to the
Well, before you do that, I think. That is something you will have to do. But before that, the question asked me what is its circumference. So the next thing I should do is write down the, what do we call that? No, you don't have to write the problem down word for word, but you do need to write what? What is this? Let me go back to screen. What is this thing called?
formula.
Yep. You need to then write down the formula that circumference equals pi times diameter. Then, whoever said you would double, Calvin said, this is only the radius, so you need the diameter. So how big is the diameter? 4 inches. And then you fill in the blank. Usually you will put 3.14 in for pi, and you'll have to multiply those two things together. Now, if the problem says about, then feel free to change this to a 3 and just round it. But if it says to give exactly, or this is as close as we can get, you're going to take 3.14 times 4, 15.56 inches. So a 4-inch in diameter circle, which would be about what, this? Look at that big of a circle. Takes 15 inches for it, goes around once. That's kind of handy, isn't it? That's the part where you ooh and ah. But make sure you draw